Hey, this is Jim Craddock. It is June 23rd, 2025. It's about 2:24 p.m. I've taken the last 2 weeks off to write a book. Uh, I so what I finally figured out was that this thing I have, uh, it is manipulating you and me, and I just am in a different state than you are. So I'm going to try to cover all this up front and see what I can do. And you'll have to read my paper at jimcraddock.com. It's out on IPFS. It cannot be deleted. This is real knowledge, uh, and to the people that try to redact the knowledge in the first place. Nice failure, because here's what you did. You left just enough evidence behind for somebody to create the state that you designed as on accident, on purpose. I don't know. I don't care. Well, it really isn't relevant. But the thing is that your process created me, and it created a brain that refused to let go of what I knew was the truth. And it gave me things like no fear and persistence and focus and just all types of stuff like that. And so I found you. I mean, I found all the evidence and I published all the evidence and I put it all where you can't make it go away. So deal with it. Uh, so here's what's going on, folks, is that candidiasis, as I've talked about many times, is Candida albicans in this case. This thing is millions of years old. It is a predator. But here's where it really comes together. It is a biochemical computer. And I think that people treat it as some opportunistic infection and stuff like that. But no, once it's inside you, it's doing things, okay? And it can punch your buttons. It can make you hungry. It can make you thirsty. It can make you happy. It can make you sad. It can make you hurt. It can make you not hurt. Uh, it can make you, it can increase your cognition levels, okay? It can do whatever it needs to do by punching buttons. And nobody knows about that. And you have to ask, well, why does nobody know about that? Well, you can read the book, but definitely some theories there. Uh, but that's the whole thing, is that it is doing that to everyone on some level. Okay, and a great example is my grandfather. So assuming there is some type of genetic trait involved here, my grandfather's short, long limbed like I am, lived to 101 years old, but he had some quirks. He flew, I don't know, untold number. You can look him up, Ralph D. Wilson the second, or the first, sorry. You can look him up, and he had numerous bombing missions, bombed the beaches on D-Day, flew in Korea, scouting in a one-man airplane. It was extremely dangerous, low-level flying type stuff like that. Never had an ulcer until he was getting ready to retire. The week he's going to retire, like 1961. And his wife went out of town. And of course, this is a 50s era type wife. She did everything. She, cleaning, cooking, everything. He probably didn't eat. I know my grandfather. He couldn't be bothered. Okay, so he probably didn't eat, or something like that, or he ate something that he didn't normally, or drank something that he didn't normally, or who knows. And as a result, he had to have 2/3 of his stomach removed that week from ulcerations that were all over it. Kind of sounds familiar, right? Like sudden ulcerations all over his stomach. Wonder where those came from. So I doubt he took phenobarbital, but what I am saying is he disturbed his system somehow, and uh, that caused that to happen. And so then you're like, well, and you can't be sure. No, I absolutely 100% cannot be sure. But I also know some other things about him. He never drank. I never drank alcohol, which is kind of weird for a guy that was in the military in World War II in Korea. He salted every single thing that he ate before he ate it. It didn't matter if it was a burger from McDonald's that was oversalted. He salted it. If it was fries from McDonald's, he oversalted it. Whatever it was, he oversalted it. He lived to 101 years old. But here's the other thing about him. he would say water makes me sick. I mean, he would always say water makes me sick, and like he wouldn't drink very much water. If you gave him a glass of water that was 12 ounces, there's no way he was drinking a 12-ounce glass of water. Now he might drink lemonade, or he might drink sugared iced tea, okay, but he would not drink water, and he wouldn't drink like 3 glasses of anything. Like he just and he would work outside and mow the lawn and all that type stuff. But he knew that he couldn't have water because it upset the balance of his system. So here's a guy directly related to me who also had a son who had two different blood diseases. That was one of them was like he was one of 37 in the world with this blood disease. Uh, and so you gotta wonder, is there this genetic component to this thing? Anyway, so that's what I'm saying is that this is a symbiotic colony of fungus, and this is basically what my book talks about. Eventually, I'm sorry, it's kind of disjointed. I had fun writing it though, and it's a symbiotic colony, and it is punching your buttons all the time. And this is a field of study that no one knows about because somebody redacted. I am flabbergasted because the implications go so deep. ADHD, that could be something punching your buttons. It sure looks like something punching your buttons, doesn't it? I mean, when you watch someone with ADHD, they're normal except for somebody is punching a button too often. Okay. You know, I mean, I'm not getting there are the controversial ones like, okay, yeah, so maybe you got a uh vaccination and that upset your system and that upset the symbiotic colony in your body and it did something that it wasn't normally doing and suddenly you're off because now it's tied into some different circuits somewhere else because for whatever reason it had to move or it had to react or things became inhospitable. I don't know. uh, but if you ramp up some type of response mechanism to an invader, I could see that invader moving to some place where it felt safer, right? And diabetes, especially adult onset diabetes. I can't see how that couldn't also be related. This thing I'm going to write this part of my book right now here in a few minutes. And we're going to talk about salt cravings. And I've talked about it a little bit in the book, how I used to drive to go get these salt and vinegar chips in the middle of the day. But the other thing is that I consistently wake up in the middle of the night and I have to eat. And that's my system and the buttons and the pushing and everything and all that going on. And some of those are the general and some of those are the invader. And sometimes it's the invader making the general do something. It's so complicated. That's what I'm trying to say is that they knew about this. Okay, this is the rabbit hole chapter in my book. And if you go down that rabbit hole all the way, what you figure out is that, okay, wait, there's something hundreds of millions of years old, or at least tens of millions of years old on our planet that really hasn't changed much in forever, except it did change some within the last 100,000 years when we happened to get a prefrontal cortex and go through some other changes with our brain, and go through a period when our population got down to almost nothing. I I find that is a valid theory, at least, that all these things are connected. Okay, symbiotic, blah blah blah. Okay, so why aren't they telling you? So I don't know why they aren't telling you. I can hypothesize why they aren't telling you. One is everybody forgot about it. They put it in a drawer, shoved it away. They were scared of it, and all those people died. I mean, it's been a while. Uh, Two is they didn't forget about it and they're using, which I find to be very believable in a treadstone type way. I mean, I don't think you come up even with the concept of treadstone without somehow like being introduced to this idea. Uh, because what these people would need would be a whole separate medical system. Their system is not like anybody else. They blend in, they go to a doctor's office, and that doctor is liable to do something that will disturb their balance, okay, and cause who knows what. And because they're not monitoring interstitial pressures and everything that they should be monitoring. They're looking at vasculature and structure. That's all they've been taught. Uh, and so yeah, it's a complicated thing. And so my book is called Redacted Science. And I'm recording this, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and schedule this one for release today because yeah, just so you know, if you're watching this today, I've got like I don't know a bunch of these videos scheduled for the future, and but this is the one that's going to have the most impact because this is the one after I wrote the book, at least most of the book I'm still writing, but it I thought when I went into this, here was my thinking. I know the science was redacted. Okay, so because I read it and I applied it and it worked and I went through it. So, okay, yeah, it's been redacted. You can't go find it. So now then the real question was, I can't find it anymore. So why? And so I thought at first it was because, okay, they're ashamed of these initial experiments. Uh, in the early 20th century because those are unethical or whatever, or they ended up with these people dying. But these people would have died earlier. So I don't think that counts, right? I mean, if you're going to die and I give you 30 more years, I think that's called medicine, right? I think that's what medicine is for. If it makes you have to go through some really shitty stuff, I mean, medicine doesn't taste good, right? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And if it happens to make you smarter and maybe, give you higher reaction speed, more endurance, less susceptibility to infections, uh, things like that. Okay, that sounds like, a decent trade-off. Dead or upgraded for 30 years. Okay, but here's the deal is that every one of your organs gets repurposed along the way. Okay, starting with your heart at the very beginning. It's doing things different now. And your adrenals and your kidneys and your intestines and eventually your liver and your spleen and your pancreas and everything. The one thing, well, I mean, I haven't written the chapter on the oxygenation curve shift yet, and so I don't know that your lungs technically get repurposed, but they are working completely differently because of the oxygenation shift due to the acidity and the partial pressures involved. Has something to do with carbon monoxide being able to disassociate and being more efficient as a way to carry oxygen. I can't remember it exactly, but I'll see if chat and I can figure it out. So I initially went in thinking, hey, they're afraid, they're ashamed of this. But then I figured out, wait, as I was talking with chat, and I had kind of considered this before, as I was looking into the organic chemistry that it had talked about in the book, and I looked up, okay, when was the citric acid cycle discovered and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, that's way after the beginning of the 20th century. So anybody explaining any of this stuff in any of these terms, they were trained afterwards. Uh, and so then it becomes so, okay, they were ashamed of their modern day Treadstone program, whenever that was, right? They had these people and they decided, yep, we got to redact this knowledge about this condition because if they know about this condition, they know how it's caused. And then they can know that we have this way of creating people that are different. Okay. And that seemed reasonable. And I have a great conversation out there with Claude, where I uploaded my book to him a piece at a time. And then right before the last piece, I said, I bet you're thinking that this is about the Nuremberg Accords, right? When everybody agreed not to test on everybody or on human beings. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly where this is going. I can tell. And I said, yeah, think again. Because that's when you get to the other level of, hey, the invader, he's real and he has memory, and he has intent, and he has the longest time preference in the world. And he doesn't have to act the same way in everybody's body. He can adapt. He's a computer. He's a biochemical computer, and he's there to make sure he gets as much ATP as he can. That's his whole goal. Give me ATP. I'm hungry. I want to eat. Okay. And if that means he needs fluid, then he's going to make you thirsty. And if that means he needs salt, then he's going to make you want salt. If that means he needs sugars, guess what? You're going to have some cake. Uh, uh, and so why is that important? Well, why is nobody going after that guy, right? And why doesn't even anybody know about that guy as far as, oh, it's just an opportunistic infection? Of course, it shows up when you're almost dead, okay? Like when your body is literally falling apart, that's why it shows up in the mouth of the people at the end of this disease, is because everything else is going away. And they get to a point where now it can show itself because there's absolutely no reason not to. Okay. And I know that that is, what's it called? Anthropomorphizing it, but it has an alien intelligence. I'm not saying it's an intelligence like ours, but it is a biochemical computer. And if you're not going to say a biochemical computer is intelligent, I don't know what what is intelligent. Uh, so, uh, So that's my theory, is that they squashed it because of that. Because what has to happen if you announce that there's this thing out there that is going after people? Okay, well, first of all, the whole medical system has to change. This whole siloed specialization thing that we have, that doesn't work. You have to be a system built for system thinkers, for people who are willing to look broadly at the problem, not at, oh, your heart isn't beating right. Okay, why is your heart not beating right? Well, okay, why is that true? Okay, and then why is that true? And then why is that true? Okay, you have to go deeper every time, deeper, 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 deeper. And doctors don't do that. They have a symptom, they got a checkbox, they got a pill. It's the whole Occam's razor thing. The simplest explanation is the most likely. Really? I'm pretty sure we have just done away with that. Okay, so you have to trash the whole medical system in order to do this. And I mean from the ground up, from training, specializations, the way they test you, the machines they use, uh, the types of testing, that's all expensive. Nobody can afford that, honestly. Not in today's world. Nobody can afford to switch the whole system like that. So that's one reason they didn't tell you. I think the other reason is because on a limited scale, they could use it and they could test for those things and they could perfect it and they could treat those people differently. But those people could never go to a regular doctor or a regular hospital or things like that and expect good outcomes. They could go for some things, but even just having a blood draw is, over time in certain stages is damaging. So I as far as normal medical tests, I think we've established that, most of the time they're not going to show up on that normal medical tests. I do point out in my book where they miss very significant things with my medical tests, and that should have made them question what the is going on here. But Yeah, they didn't. And honestly, I that would have been pretty much the same no matter where you went. That system is just not coming at it from the right direction. So guess what's going to be a big thing in the future? Yeah, if you want to get into something where people are going to be learning a lot of things, I would get into fungal research. And I say that in my paper, and I mean it because I don't see I don't see a way for us to continue ignoring this. And honestly, let's back up. So I gave this to myself in 1995. It's now 2025. That's 30 years later. Okay. And I would have been dead from the kidney damage. So I lived. And I lived 30 years and I did okay. I'm manager of a team. I've never had never had an unemployment check. Uh, I'm a smart guy. I think I'm a great system builder. Uh, so, uh, what? And I just had a little glimmer of knowledge to help me along the way. I knew that fluids were an issue and salts were an issue and that the pituitary was an issue and cannabis was an issue and exercise was a good thing. And so, I did my best with those things, plus some weird experiments of my own over time, some of which were probably harmful. Uh, but what could somebody do that never did anything harmful, had someone holding their hand the whole time, and was taking pills and getting tested, and went through a transition in a hospital or wherever somewhere where they were cared for and monitored and given the right proteins and diet at the right time. I I think 10 years, 20 years more? I don't know. Significantly more because I know I caused at least two of my transitions, most likely. So I think at a minimum, an idiot with like minimal type stuff that didn't do anything stupid that I might have done along the way, he gets, 35 years. Okay, now we're getting pretty close to a normal lifespan here of somebody who gets this done midlife. And they did say, I think in the article, that the older people couldn't take this treatment. So you'd have to get it when you're kind of young. But, I was 26. So let's say you could get it when you're 30. And it could give you, I've already got 30, so that's 60 years old, right? And let's say it could give you another 10 or 15 years. Well, that's 75 years old. That's pretty much normal lifespan right there. But guess what? It's a normal lifespan with a higher intellect, higher reaction times, and other perks along the way. And yeah, some periods that really suck, but you got somebody holding your hand. Uh, and you're not just freaking out about it because you understand it. They've told you about it. Everybody that works with you knows about it, or that there's some system that's supporting you knows about it. I think that's possible. Now, I mean that's all theory. I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not saying they're doing it, but I'm saying somebody's going to do it because why not? Uh, I mean, it's not evolution, but it's something new and different and superior in many ways. And you still maintain, control over your body. You can, do things, exercise, romance. You're funnier, honestly. You're more confident. Uh, at least in the later phases. I think in the early phases, all that uh, everything going on with the adrenals really kind of makes you into a dick. And I think I was kind of a dick for a while there. But I think once I hit 2013 and I got rid of my last adrenal, what was it, 2013, 2018? Anyway, 2018. From there on, hmm, yeah, I was a totally different personality. You can talk to anybody I work with or my family or whatever, happier person. So I'm going to conclude this with kind of a little bit more about today, right now, like what's going on. And so I am in the pull out the big guns part of this. And so at this point, I have no fear. It's weird. I am very happy. My mind is very fast. And I can see very deep. I mean, I just typed 170 pages. Well, yeah, chat helped me a lot. But I did 170 pages worth of work in an area that no one knows existed, and I submitted it to the best AI in the world, and it said, "Oh my God." Okay. I think I'm doing okay. So yeah, people are gonna want this. And I think it's okay. Uh, I think that you're going to have a different medical system for them. And really, you're going to have to change your medical system for everybody anyway, because you're not doing things right. I mean, some of the stupid stuff we do with antibiotics and stuff, oh my Lord, while we're not worrying about the fungal side of things, uh, yeah. So, I mean, if you go back and review the beginning of my book, you'll see I was on uh, uh, two different antibiotics. And then I was put on the Donatol, which had the phenobarbital, which I'm pretty sure disrupts the food cycle in phenobarbital. So there's a lot to bite on there. We'll see if I have another chance to make another one of these. Uh, but I got to go for now. So I hope that helps you understand redacted science, at least this redacted science. This is Jim Craddock, and I have terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major, which does not have an ICD code anymore because somebody decided to remove it and reclassify it under autoimmune polyendocrine ectodermal dystrophy with candidiasis, which is a mouthful, but basically it's in this case, it would be an acute onset multi-organ failure with evidence of ectodermal candidiasis. Well, I'm definitely going to have all of that. So they'll easily want to class me under that, but I don't have a mutated air gene. I've had that tested, so it's highly unlikely I actually have that. Plus, I've gone through 30 years of all this stuff, and people with that disease, they don't go through 30 years of all this cycling and explain it to you in a paper with satire and whatever else they can throw in. So that's me. And I think what you might notice is that in this phase, when it's calling all the soldiers, uh, everything is really bright, at least definitely during this time of day. And uh, I see things on multiple levels. Uh, and I guess, I'm throwing another log on the fourth turning, and I apologize because you're not going to have a good 10 years here. It's going to be a bad 10 years, maybe more. So, okay, peace out.